Louis Hank goes to the top of the standings. He's been very impressive in recent rounds. Ruben Van Buell, we said that he might be a little bit slow out of the blocks. Nothing such. He's up in second place at the moment. Jay Janowski, how impressive has he been in the couple of rounds that we've seen him so far this season? Of course, got pole position at Zolder. And he's currently up in third place. So really is open for a few drives. Only 5 minutes, of course, into this qualifying session. Still got 15 more minutes to go.
Sam, I have to apologize massively to everyone because we just spent around 10 minutes talking to the wind because it didn't press start streaming.
Okay.
Now we are live and we say hello to everyone once. People were asking in the chat, will this stream still start? Anton Dupin said, hoping you will be online soon. I said, we are online. Am I on the wrong channel? Am I streaming to the wrong stream key? And
everyone who, so we're now being shown live, are we?
Yes, now we are live. People can hear us.
Honestly, everyone, you have missed. What a show! You've missed such incredible jokes. Honestly, it's life changing. The stuff that you have missed. So unlucky you is all I can say. A lot of Battlestar Galactica talk. So I guess I'll do the intro. Oh dear, this feels very weird now. Well, welcome anyway to the iRacing Esports Network and Apex Racing TV for round 7 of the DynamiXX GT Championship. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Marco Barbanera, who I will point out is solely responsible for the streaming of tonight's broadcast. Like I said, we are here for round 7 of this season 6, and what I opened this broadcast on, Marco, was the fact that we've had 5 different race winners in the first 6 races this season, and we're going to a circuit which is notoriously unpredictable. I think a 6th different winner in this 7th race is very possible.
Yes, and again, massive. This is. I'm serious right now. Sorry to the guys at Simracersworld and to all the viewers. I've made some mistakes in my broadcasting career, but I think this will take the cake because I remember once we were doing an F3.5 race and I missed the first couple of minutes, but here we missed like 10 minutes of broadcasting. So, I mean, big apologies to everyone. Yes, anything can happen here at Monza. We said this is going to be a very tricky track, especially the first few laps, and all throughout the race, overtaking is going to be tough, lapping will be tough. Let's bring on some of the background music also while we introduce the broadcast once again. And it's a track that will continue, I think, the trend of an unpredictable season. And as I said earlier, let me have, and now properly this time, introduce once again and welcome back with open arms to Apex Racing TV, the iRacing Esports Network, and of course this championship, this guy, Ruben Van Buell. I mean, after his cycling accident in January, long way back for him. I've been told by Ian Brutz that he was going to test it out in practice if he was feeling okay to race. He's out for qualifying, and I guess this means that he's good to go. Hopefully, of course, he can hold on for the entire duration of the race, but I think he's very, very smart. Brings a smile to my face to have him back, and also sporting this beautiful livery that his brother has been wearing all season long, inspired by Ayrton Senna, and I think designed by Ian Roots himself. And he's already showing to be pretty competitive with P4 overall in qualifying after the first 9 minutes.
It's been very impressive so far. Van Buell is up in second place at one point in this qualifying session. We've still got 11 more minutes to go. He's currently nearly a second off, though, the fastest time. You can see the difference that Van Buell currently has over the rest of the order. Van Buell hasn't... I'm just trying to think, has he got pole position this season? I don't believe he has. And, anyone can check me on that one. I believe Clayson's has got a couple of poles. And we also saw, last time out, We saw we saw Janowski get pole position, of course. But I think it's mainly been Clayton's with at least 3 of the poles so far this season. I don't think Van Buel's got one. And yet he's looking as though he gets it regularly because yeah, he's 6/10 of a second clear at the moment at the top of the standings. James Forsyth putting himself up into 12th place. What I was also saying earlier on, Marco, was the championship standings, because at the moment, Ashley Beard is leading the way in the championship in his Mercedes. It's Mercedes 1-2. Jack Ashton in 2nd place. Nick Sherman's the silver driver is in 3rd place. Then it's James Forsyth and Dries Mujdi rounding out the top 5. And of course, Kevin De Winter leading out of the bronze drivers. And I posed you the question, despite the fact that Beard has got a points lead, do you think Ashton is the favourite to win the title just by the fact that he's probably showing that little bit more pace than Beard so far?
And again, I will answer to you the same because I think that you know it's very tough. It's one of those seasons that are very very tough to predict because of you know especially coming from the past seasons where we had dominance by a couple of drivers and. You know, if Van Genetten first, Martin van Loosenord later. So I think everyone is in a bit of a new situation with this season, no? Because even the drivers themselves, suddenly you find you know, several drivers with a shot at the title. So I mean, it's going to. Someone has a massive wreck there at the back. Is Lewis Ward. I think that it's everything. Yes, I say as a prediction is going to be rendered obsolete very very soon. So I don't trust myself in making predictions today.
I think was it Lewis Ward who I raced against the other day. I feel really bad, but I did some Porsche races last week. One against a couple against Steve Clays, and he thoroughly beat me, at least in the second one. The first one he crashed out. I'm still taking that as a 1-1 draw. However, I then raced against Lewis Ward, and I beat him. Oh, that was lovely. He outqualified me by about a second. But I beat him to like 12th place or something, which was brilliant. There is who are we currently watching? Is this
James Upton, it is beautiful
James
livery.
Hobson? Apologies, yes, and of course, yeah, using Chrome to say the least. I can see my own teeth in that. You could become a dentist
Yeah.
and do some surgeries with that. So it's absolutely lovely, and especially in this brilliant blazing sunshine in Monza.
Yes, I mean I did a slow motion for him, you know, when we were not live. So I thought it was good to do it again because that livery is absolutely beautiful. Now, James, PJ Claessens, Ryan Walker, and Neil Cooper are the only drivers without a valid lap time. Let's talk a bit about Martin van Loosenord, which I thought it was a bit of a joke or a pun last week when I think it was Marvin Amans told us that he retired, but no, he left the building, and so he will not be back to defend his title. He will not be back in his Ford to you know, to entertain us, which makes me very very sad. But I respect his decision, and this will mean that we will have a new champion, of course, in this new season, 6th season of the Simracersworld GT Pro Championship. I mean, Martin has been the dominator of the past 2 seasons, and I mean, we wish him all the best. Hopefully, we'll be back soon on our screens for season 7. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think who. So I'm not sure who won season 1, and then it was Daleman, wasn't it? Then season 3 was Van Genekton, and then of course Van Liesner has won the last couple of titles. Massive shame that he's not here, and he set himself the task of winning the title in the Ford, and he really had decent pace. Daytona, maybe he could have won. He was certainly looking like he was one of the fastest. Bathurst, he should have won, undoubtedly. And then I think Watkins Glen was, if anything, despite the fact that it was possibly his best result of the season, I think Watkins Glen was the one where it really just killed it for him because he just wasn't quite on the pace. I'm sure we will see him back. Absolutely, 98% sure we will see him back for either next season. I would almost put my house on that, or the following season. I'm sure you'll get that motivation up and you'll want to win this title, especially take the title of someone else. So yeah, best hopefully Martin is listening along. Hopefully we'll see him back in some kind of championship very, very soon. Maybe going back to a little bit of single seats, as of course where he made his debut on iRacing. Lewis Ward up there in second place now. This is turning into his best qualifying session of the season. Seb Hawkins also doing a great job up in third, but no one can get close to Stein Van Buell at the moment. As we see John Tusting trying to improve on his lap time at the moment in the 236 card. Another nice chrome livery there. Justin Nair as well in 17th place only, a little bit further down than he'd like.
Lewis Ward sporting this generic livery. I know Ian is in the chat and is, of course, confirming that Martin van Loosenhoorn has left the series in good terms. I didn't think it was going to be anything different, considering, the great organization and what a kind, person Martin is. Just installed the latest paint pack. I don't see a livery for Lewis, so he's running around with his very angry bee-like Audi R8. Many things make me sad about Martin leaving the series. There is of course the big plus of having a new champion, and I love when we have a new champion. We are guaranteed of that, and of course it opened up the battle at the top of the field. But I have to say that the thing that maybe I will feel the most over the next few weeks until we have a new champion is that I will not be able to say Le Champion every Wednesday night.
Absolutely. And of course, we miss not having the reverse grid wheel.
I mean, I'm not doing it anymore.
And Le
basically.
Champion is some kind of substitute to that. But we don't even have that anymore.
I mean, I cannot go too aggressive on a little bit of the bubbly because that is more of Woody's catchphrase.
Yeah, you need a northern accent for that one, don't you, really? Or a Yorkshire accent.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will have to... But, on the positive side, we are doing so many quick series as of late that, for example, we are doing the DCRA series, which is like 5 races in the span of 2 weeks. We have a race tonight at 3 in the morning, so if you want to stay up, join me and Austin in that. And also we're doing the F3 Americas, which we did last night. And that's going to be another quick championship that's going to take place in the next few weeks. So there will be plenty of Le Champion that I will say. And of course, I have always this graphic ready on hand that, of course, I can pop up. It's almost in... Oh man, someone blew it. Almost in almost every one of my project files, I have this graphic ready. So whenever someone wins the championship.
Well, prepare to use it later on in the season. The question is, who will be Le Champion for this season 6 of the DynamiXX GT Championship? Simon Buell certainly still doing very well. By the way, Clayson, he was placed up in the back again. He's got a little bit of a knack for that, as we see Bart Delman and Seb Herbert in the steward's room tonight. I really like their first ruling, and Ian Roots is included in this as well, as Marco actually ruining his chances of winning commentator of the season.
I
seems like he's
that.
not going to be Le Champion. Seems
disagree.
like I will be Le Champion.
Pressing start streaming has nothing to do with commentating and all to do with broadcasting. And no one can, take away the broadcaster of the season title unless I get fired from Apex, because, no one else does broadcasting. So I will appeal this terrible ruling by the stewards.
Well, I don't think it's going to work very well, to be honest. And let's face it, I have been doing my best to win that, honestly. Some of the posts I put in the chat, all out brownie points, to be honest. I have earned a lot of them. So thank you very much to the Simracersworld community. No, but in all seriousness, back to the action. It is still Van Buell on pole position and by 6/10 of a second. Can anyone get close? Maybe. Ruben Van Buell, his brother. Could we see a Schumacher-esque front row of the grid for the brothers? He runs wide. I think that will be an off track. We will wait to see if it is. He's not taking a particularly short line short run to the line as he crosses the line, and it is. Does he improve?
No,
Invalidated lap time. So he
but
stays in 5th place.
But he can go
Only
again,
1/10 of a second off second.
he can go again.
He can, just, yeah.
Start finish line is sorry, the finish line is I don't know why at the beginning of the straight instead of at the end, which I think robs us of many big finishes, in my opinion, in real life and in iRacing.
Janowski can't improve much. Former pole sitter at Zolder. Like I said earlier on, it's a very different circuit this. What can Nick Shermans do? 3rd place in the championship. Top of the silver drivers in the championship. He does not improve though, does Shermans. He stays in 11th place. It is ever so close, as it always is, apart from the provisional pole sitter. And we're running out of drivers to challenge him. Still Jack Ashton out on circuit. He's got about 1/3 of the lap to go. He's a little bit up the road right now from... apologies, we are on board with Ashton. He's a little bit further up the road than James Hobden. That's actually Hobden approaching the Parabolica right now. Ashton taking a little bit of that sleeping policeman, sausage car, whatever you want to call it, on the inside. But it's all nice and tidy for him at the moment. 4th place on the grid, and he really has a chance of taking the lead in the championship with Beard down in 7th place at the moment. Ashton really does want to make up a few points if he possibly can at this round 7 of the championship. Doesn't use too much of the road at Parabolica as he powers towards the line. Was ticked 6/10 of a second off, and he does not improve. He was just under 1/10 of a second slower than his best lap time. And that is everyone across the line. No more improvements for anyone. And what a remarkable grid this is in store for us. But, Marco, even if you do have a big pace advantage around this track, doesn't necessarily mean the race win is going to come to you easy. As long as you can stay close, it is very tricky to break that draft. And if you're in the draft, you get to go a little bit further in that first stop. You get to save a bit of fuel. And so, pole position certainly isn't the do-all or end-all.
Absolutely right with you. I mean, we have seen the Italian Esports Championship held here in Monza a couple of months ago, for which the Italian Automobile Club still has to pay me, by the way. And that that was basically all 3 races, the 2 semifinals and the final, were decided by fuel saving in the draft. So expect more of this right here, even though that was a Ferrari single class race in GT3. Of course, here we have many different manufacturers, all well represented at the front. And here we go, Sam, with the grid for this race.
Yes, Stein Van Buell on pole position with a 47.386, 6/10 of a second clear of Seb Hawkins. I believe that is Hawkins' best ever qualifying in this series. Lewis Ward, the driver who I beat, actually. Haven't mentioned that before. 3rd place on the grid. Nice job from the Meraki Racing driver. Jack Ashton, 2nd place in the championship, starts in 4th. Ruben Van Buell on his comeback. Could we see a podium? Could we even see a win for the Belgian? He starts in 5th. Louis Hank starts in 6th, top of the silver drivers. Championship leader Ashley Beard lines up in 7th with James Forsyke, his year 1 racing teammates, in 8th. Jeez Mushti and Van Opstal rounds out the top 10. Behind that, it is Nick Shermans, Joseph Janowski, Jeremy Hessels, Ollie Slade, Justin Nair, Adam Murray, John Barnes, Tom Metherell, Steve Clays, Bod Boland, Craig Jones, top of the bronze drivers, then Sam Bentham, Stephen DeWolf, John Tusting, lining up in 24th place, and
Sorry,
then
Sam,
it's Kevin Boland.
I forgot you have the graphics now on screen.
Yeah. Oh dear. Honestly, I ditched that. I've gone to the other stuff, so you can put the grid wherever you like it now, Marco. I don't care because I'm not even going to trust you anymore. Kevin Boland starts in 25th place. Hendrik de Grave in 26th. Then it's Thijsberg, Simon van Dijk, Matthias Temple, Gosling, Kim by height. David Fuller, watch out for him from 32nd on the grid. James Hobden, Kevin De Winter, and PJ Claysons saying in 35th place. There's Neil Cooper as well in the Fiesta Sport Car in 36th. John McConville, Ryan Walker, great to see him back. And Stuart Musselwhite rounds out the order. 39 cars for this Monza race. And once again, it is the Mustang pulling the drivers around. It could pull all of these cars round by itself because it is that strong a car. It's an absolute beast. Anyway, we've already talked about the difficulties of breaking the draft, Marco. However, possibly Van Buren's best opportunity at breaking this draft is right at the start of this race. We can see incidents, and if you can get through this first few corners cleanly, you can make quite a handy advantage for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. Of course, it's never easy to get through to the first chicane. The former Variante Goodyear, now I think it's just called the Prima Variante. Trickiest place. I mean, it was a bad corner in the 90s. They made it even worse now, in my opinion. But yes, I mean, hopefully these drivers will go through. I won't be surprised if we see some shenanigans happen right there.
Here we go then. The pace car is in, and Stijn van Buren pulls away. And round 7 of the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Championship is underway at Monza. And he pulls a few car lengths as well, and is still pulling away in that McLaren. It really is an absolute lightning bolt down the straights. Jack Ashton already getting past Lewis Ward, who is having a little bit of a tricky start. Van Buren deep on the brakes, down on the inside. He's not got a great start as Van Buren already down 2 places. Great start for Van Opstar. He's up 4 places, up already into 4th position. Stephen Van, up 3 places at the moment. Beard drops 1 place. And so far, we have avoided most of the incidents into the first chicane. But look at that gap. Already 1 second for Van Buren. It was a clear run for pretty much everyone behind him. And yet they still lost time. He's absolutely flying. It's the 47 car. Like I said, Van Opstal up 3 places. Ward down 2 places. And Beard, the championship leader, dropping a place as well.
Yeah, I think we have an issue for McConville. And PJ Claysons probably, they both started, if I'm not mistaken, from the pits or from way back. And I think they collided hard on the brakes. And then one of the Simracersworld cars got involved in that, in a tangle, unfortunately. As we go back live. But apart from that, a very clean start.
Oh, Ollie Slade is slow. But he hasn't spun it. Oh, that was so close to Naya there. Now it really holds up the year 1 cut. That was Adam Murray. That's unlucky for Murray. Just came across at the worst spot. And Ollie Slade is getting a little bit freight trained right now. Puts his car on the inside of the track. But so that's his best chance at defending as many places as he possibly can. He's currently running alongside Tom Metherall in the 17 car, and Slade certainly wins out on that occasion. Steve Clays is now right with Metherall. Now we're riding on board with Ashley Beard.
Big wreck.
Right across the start-finish line. I think Jones may have been involved in that one. And they're trying to spread a massive incident into the wall. Now we'll try to realise who has been involved in that one. Certainly Jones and Metherall, Clays, and Musselwhite. So it was similar to that battle that we saw earlier on. It was kind of the drivers sitting just behind that.
So Jones, I think, was the spinning Ferrari. Oh, but there was a crash in front of them.
It was Clays and
Metherall, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe Metherall, let's see. No, Metherall was...
No, it was Metherall.
It was Metherall, yeah.
Oh, and Jones is so unlucky. And actually, so lucky that not more drivers were involved. In fact, actually, we do have Musselwhite back into the pits along with Van Dijk and De Winter. Shame for De Winter. He was doing so well in the bronze category that he got involved.
Oh, and also you can see Thijsberg got a piece of that action there, unfortunately. Massive wreck.
So we seem to be down to 31 drivers now in this race. And leading all of them is Stein Van Buell. Hawkins in second place. Ashton still in third. But Louis Hank is right on his tail. So far, these top three, none of them have the slipstream. Van Buell already getting the gap up to 1.5 seconds. On that last lap, he was half a second faster. This is remarkable from Stein Van Buell. Even Van Leesnord or Van Genekten really had the dominance that he is exhibiting right now on circuit. And in fact, it's much more entertaining just behind because Hank is very nearly in passing range and Lewis Ward is coming with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that the McLaren had an advantage around here, but I mean, this is absolutely stunning what he has been able to do, Stein Van Buell. And look at this fight here, because Ashton, I was going to say Hank and Ward are all close together. As behind them is Ruben Van Buell with Ashley Beard. Keep an eye on James Forsdyke and Joseph Janowski, the two Year 1 drivers, going together. But let's focus on this fight right here, because anything can happen and probably will. As look at this, Stephen the Wolf, Stephen the Wolf and Kevin Bolland are going at it. Bolland goes wide. In front of them is Quantum Racing's own Sam Bentham. Great fights all over the field. Shame for that wreck that we had there. Jump on board with Lewis Ward and his beautiful Audi.
Yeah, because he will be in the box seat right now, saving a nice amount of fuel is Ward, sitting behind these couple of drivers. That could be the hope for Hank. And Ward's, in fact. Anyone who's in a slipstream. You know, Van Buell, of course, burning through a whole lot more fuel than these guys. Hank is really close coming out of the Parabolica. They're maintaining the gap at the moment to Hawkins. And they are dropping Ruben Van Buell as well behind. 1.4 seconds that gap is up to. Yeah, they actually lost time to the two leaders. This did these guys on the last time round. But the Audi R8 behind the driver that's sitting in third place cannot get close enough. Although he was pretty close to giving his rival a little bit of a tap round right there. Incredible the amount of gaggles we've got at the moment out on circuit. You can check out the live timing via the link in the description provided by SDK Gaming. And you can click on that and you can see the intervals between each of the drivers. It is really useful. And there is a lot of red, which indicates that there's a lot of drivers very close to one another. Not a whole lot of overtakes, though, happening at the moment.
Yes, this is what you are probably going to see, the column on the left, which I don't like showing because I think it's a bit confusing, but if you want to check fights between drivers, it's the easier way to do it and certainly available on the live timing. My dream, and I have to talk to Pascal about this, is to have the column on the left like we have right now.
Murray.
As Murray has a problem. Adam Murray has gone wide at the second Lesmo corner. So I would like to have that, but just it updates every once in a while, like every sector has goes wide there. I like it because it gives people an idea where everyone is, and now that we have updated the overlay to be at 1080p 5-6 months ago, it fits nicely and it's not very invasive. But I still find all those numbers moving sometimes.
Well, can we
a bit too much.
Make it only 1 decimal point? That's a thing we can do, can't we? And then if we do that, I think there'll be a few less moving numbers, I think.
My stunned silence will tell you that I need to look into that. We can certainly make the battle box with less decimals.
Beard, by the way, moving... was that Beard moving past Van Buell? I believe it was. Yes, it was. So, Ashley Beard up into 6th place, and here it was. Very simple for him. I doubt Van Buren wants to get too involved in that. Meanwhile, you can see the year one driver behind them of James Forster. He was moving past Stephen Van Opstal. Remember, he was up 3 places, 4 places. He was in 4th place at one point, was Van Opstal. No, so what's that, Van Opstal? It was certainly up into maybe 6th place. Jumping back down to 9th now, way back where he kind of his pace represents him. Good start as well for Janowski. He's up a couple of places, not the best qualifying for him. Maybe that Mercedes isn't the go-to car around this track. But you can see the queue behind them going all the way back to Jeremy Hessels, and you wouldn't bet against Justin Nair getting involved in this one as well. Of course, already a podium sitter this season.
Let me upgrade the 4-letter initials of Van Opstal, because we would have to SVAN, and that would be a bit confusing, especially in the front of the field. By the way, all these 4 letters abbreviation are done by the fantastic folks of Simracersworld, and they do a fantastic job, but I think SVOP is a bit better to avoid confusion.
Thank goodness there aren't too many Belgian and Dutch drivers in Formula 1, because we had oh dear, I can't remember his name. Who was the McLaren driver?
Stoffel Van Dorn.
Van Dorn, there you go. That's the only ban, and unfortunately, for the F1 graphics designers, Belgium and Netherlands, particularly Netherlands, are getting very good at racing. They're becoming the new Finland, so I wouldn't bet against there being 3 or 4 bans in F1 in a few years. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Well, I still hope for a return of Guido van der Garde in F1. So.
Of course, yeah. He was meant to drive for didn't he have that disagreement one season in like 2014 as to who was meant to drive for Caterham? It was like him and someone else who and in the end it went to court and everything. I think that was a settlement. But at least he provides good memes. That is a good thing. Hendrik de Grave dropping down the order a little bit. He's back down into 26th place now. And actually still falling is de Grave. So having a little bit of a tricky time right there. Maybe just cutting across the chicane. He's got the quantum racing driver Paul Gosling sitting right on his tail. Just another one of these big packs of drivers. PJ Clayson's in amongst these drivers. Doing his customary starting from the back of the order and making his way up. I think he quite enjoys it. But it's a little bit of a shame, because I feel like he probably could get a podium out of this race if he did properly qualify.
Yeah, but of course this time didn't pay off, because he had that collision at the Variante della Roggia. So you know, sometimes it works. Most of the time it works. Sometimes it doesn't. You know, that car seems to be pretty good, in a good shape. Of course, the McLaren, as we said, big favorite around here. And let's take a look at the lap times, because
it was very strange. There you go. Look at that. Orange, 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 green, and a big green. That's a big number, 1.335. Big number.
Yeah, mistake somewhere, and you don't want to get the draft back to the driver behind you in this place, because it's then going to be extra difficult to you know, to get rid of that presence behind you. And Hawkins and Ashton are playing it nicely, and so is Hank for the time being. No risky business. They are following in line and trying to get as close as possible to the race lead, and of course saving that little bit of extra fuel, as we have a problem for Kimbe Height. He's here and he spun at the Variante della Roggia. So let's get a replay of that.
This has been the trouble spot so far in this race.
Ah, those curbs. And a mistake there. So you were talking earlier about policeman curbs. Is that how you call those black and yellow stripes?
No, to be fair, they're more like speed bumps. To be fair,
yeah,
because policemen. Anyway, side by side for second place. Hawkins having to go defensive against Ashton. This is going to help out Van Buell in the lead. Ashton to go to the outside, do the chicane side by side. Oh, that was good defense there from Hawkins. Had to breathe in a little bit. They've lost each other, though, about 0.6 of a second by going side by side. And now Louis Hank is going to be pretty close. Even Lewis Ward catching up to these drivers now. And don't count out Ashley Beard as well, as Ashton kind of thinks about it. Hawkins, really tight line, and that's going to affect his speed. Has to stop it on the apex pretty much. And just on this lap alone, they've lost 0.8 of a second to Van Buell. He had that awful lap, dropped 1.2 seconds. And he's kind of been given all of that time back again because Hawkins is obsessed with keeping that second place.
Dear.
As Ashton almost into the back of him.
And just as I said that they were going to play it nicely, they of course do the complete opposite. Look at this, they're looking every
He's
way
going
to
to
get a
box
move.
him in. This is smart from Hank. Can he make this one stick? To the outside goes Hank. Oh, Ashton nearly understeers into him, and Hank does get ahead. And that was, well, superb racecraft then from the silver driver. He's up into third place, and Ashton, he looked as though he was perhaps on course to catching up the race leader. Now, he's going to lose out to Lewis Ward as well, and he's only one place ahead of his championship rival, Ashley Beard, all of a sudden. Terrible few corners, terrible lap for Jack Ashton.
There were a couple of, there was a little bit of a touch there, nothing major in my opinion. It was a good pass in my opinion. This of course caused Lewis to lose a little bit of rhythm, Jack to lose a little bit of rhythm, but now Lewis needs to defend because the 98 Ford Zilla car, or Audi Zilla as someone call it, are looking to get back as... Oh, look at that, Janowski on the inside and Van Opstal has to yield. Great brave pass from Joseph Janowski. Let's see that pass once again, which is not here, but it is here, on board, to see the entity of the contact, if there was contact at all.
I didn't see contacts. Oh, there was, yep.
Commentator of the season. Come on, man.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, Janowski's out. He's off. He's
Oh
off at the
no,
Variante
he
della
had
Roggia.
such good pace as well. Honestly, he just laps faster or the same pace as the race leader. Really making some good progress.
Oh, be
Oh
careful
no,
there.
that's a very unsafe. What's he doing there? Oh, almost hits the quantum racing. And another one. And there goes Clayson's.
Okay.
Now he gets back going. Oh, that could have been worse. 25th place he's down to. Like I said, he was absolutely flying along. He really had, you know... Oh, wait, lost it really early on. And that's going to be a bit of floor damage as well. And a bit of rear wing damage. That's strange. It's almost as though he yanked the rear brake bias back. And look at that.
Quali ban in the next round for the number 77 car, by the way.
Matthias Tem.
Matthias Tem, who I think had an issue earlier. Trying to go back and see. No, this was already a miss.
I don't know who the 315 car is. Oh, it's Theisberg.
Maybe this is having a bit of trouble. Is Matthias? Okay. Battle continues here. And he's getting crowded.
Yeah, Ashton back ahead then. Who is this? Oh, sorry, what? How is this how? Okay, so Ward is up into third place. I did not see this one happening. So Ward is up into third position all of a sudden. And he's, he got past then. The Louis Hank, he then lost out to Ashton as well. So Wardy dropped down a couple of places in the opening stages, lost the draft as well. And look how close Beard is to these guys, and look how close Ruben Van Buell is. James Forsythe, he's playing in some good lap times recently, and this is all helping the race leader so much. It's up to 5 seconds. The race lead, absolutely remarkable.
Do you think? I think that from a broadcaster point of view, it's very entertaining. but maybe not very smart by these drivers, because they were catching up to Van Buell, and they were saving fuel in the meantime.
Yeah. Well, I guess talk to Seb Hawkins, because he's been the perpetrator, I believe, of all of this. He wanted to hang on to second place, fair dues. However, he's kind of he's jeopardized any chance of them getting up to first place. Here comes Ward, though. He's been so far very good at getting past these drivers. Got past already Jack Ashton, then had to get past Louis Hank, and now he's going for second place, doing the same move as Ashton did earlier on. Good driving from Hawkins to leave a bit of space, and now what he doesn't want to do is what Ashton did earlier on, get kind of boxed in and be outpositioned by the driver in fourth place. But he's back in the tow, and he knows that if he wants to keep behind the drivers behind, then he's got to get this move done straight away. Hawkins goes defensive again, tricky to go around the outside into this second chicane, and just on this lap again, they've lost another second.
Yes, I mean, it's getting bad, almost 6 seconds now, and the train keeps on growing. If they keep on battling like this, and I don't know if there is I mean, unless we have a crash that spreads out this pack, they are going to keep fighting and fighting, because they are very similar in pace. I guess that James Fordyke will probably join the party relatively soon. I mean, there he is. I mean, he sees them a few hundred meters in front.
And honestly, there's nothing better as a driver when you're by yourself having a bit of a dull race, and then you all of a sudden see everyone ahead of you fighting, and you just think, yes, this is my window back in. It is absolutely glorious to see that, and you just think, I mean, I don't know how other people think, but I just think, come on guys, keep fighting, few more corners, I'm almost with you now. Just keep on fighting, keep on losing each other time, and soon I'll be able to overtake all of you.
Shout out to Kevin Bolland leading the bronze class. Of course, our silver class leader Sam is in all of this mix, but and let's go back to there, because of course every time they go on the straight, it looks like a cycling race. Everyone looking for a good spot for the final sprint.
Oh, nice move this from Ward. He's slightly more alongside. Has to leave Hawkins' room. And Hawkins, every time, always gets a good exit from that chicane. And then Ward doesn't really get the momentum early enough. Now he's going to get some momentum, get some overspeed. Hawkins just puts his car to the side of the circuit. And so far, this outside line into the chicane hasn't really worked. And it's not worked again here. Takes a lot of curb, does Hawkins. Needs to make sure he doesn't get a slowdown for that.
Almost, I think it was 1 centimeter away from getting a slowdown there. I mean, those curbs are, you know, just like the final curb in Montreal. You get a little bit too far to the right or to the left, and bam, slow down, and you have to. I mean, if you get a slowdown now, you know, very well might lose all the draft. I know you can work it out, as Jeremy Essels is proceeding slowly at Lesmo 2. And now back on track, I would guess, since his car looks okay, a simple spin. But we will know the rest of the story right now.
Was running in 12th place was Hessels. Oh, too much curb on the inside. It was like, I'm not going to spin, I'm not going to spin. Good job there from, that was Nair to move up into 12th.
Different lines here in the Parabolica, everyone going left and right, a little bit more spread out right now. Lewis Ward.
Ooh, no, surely that's too early. Or is it? I don't see how this is going to work.
This is a very, very strange call. Brave, if it pays off.
I can only imagine he might be able to slingshot himself past the traffic. That being in traffic might be an advantage, because he can just dip into the slipstream and pass one. However, the amount of extra fuel you're going to have to drive with for the next 20 minutes is so much that it's going to use you so much time down the straights. I mean, that's just like, and it's not even say, oh, that's a lot of curb again. Don't take that much curb, Seb. You're giving us a heart attack. It doesn't really work for fantastic around this place with the extra fuel, because sometimes it can kind of bounce your car out a little bit. Sometimes your set can work better through the corners with a bit more fuel. However, down the straights, you're going to lose time with more weight. I mean, it's that basic, and so that's just going to be a net loss that you can't really do a whole lot about. So I'm skeptical of this.
Yeah, it's a strange call. As you can see, he joined basically back at the back of the lead lap cars. I mean, the only lead lap car. 97, incorrect car choice. Okay, so that's why we don't have delivery.
Lewis, yeah. What car was he supposed to be in? We ought to know this. McLaren? Pretty sure it's a McLaren. It's not going to be anything else, is it?
Jeremy Essels has gone wide, and now he's spinning, and
that's
now he's in the wall.
And this is going to lose him a whole lot more time than his spin at the second Lesmo custom. Too much curve. Oh, wow. Yeah. And
Okay.
that's a big hit into the wall as well.
I need to tell the story I tell every time about that curb. I managed to flip twice on that curb. A front flip both times. Once with the Cadillac and once with the Audi LMP1.
That is two very different cars as well. But yeah, that is a scary corner. Very scary corner. Ollie Slades. Mod Boland. Those are two drivers, and those are two drivers we are currently watching. Before, at the start of this lap, Boland was ahead, so I think that's just Boland defending from Slades. By the way, Stein Van Buell out in the lead, 49.08. Seb Hawkins, 48.82. He was quarter of a second faster than the race leader on that last lap, just showing that maybe he had pace to maintain the gap. Maybe he does have the pace to close the gap a bit, but up to 6 seconds now, as you can see on the timing tower. The story of Van Buell's season, I'd say, Marco, has been close, but not quite close enough. Oh dear, that's Nair. Oh, just as he was getting some good momentum, was looking like he could make up a few points in the Silver Championship.
Same corner where he had that big avoiding maneuver a couple of laps ago. This time it's him forcing other drivers to take evasive action. You were talking about Ruben, and I mean, at this point, even if the guys behind manage to save fuel, they are not going to be able to pass him just on fuel saved alone.
No, but they are catching now. Oh, 4/100ths. All right, it's not a whole lot, but there you go. You see, this is when Ashton, I think, needs to be responsible and just stay behind Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any point in having track position.
The problem is that Ank and Beard and Van Buell also need to stay behind. And Ruben going back to the cycling analogy, Ruben Van Buell will do anything in his power, or could do anything in his power, to disrupt this group, this chasing group. You know, I love my cycling so much that I actually, you know, since we are going up, you know, ahead with the cycling analogies, I feel like a bit like Italian commentator and now national team coach of the cycling team, Davide Cassani, who involuntarily, as 45 also has the wrong car, who voluntarily basically got a rider disqualified from the Tour de France. The rider was Rasmussen, who before the Tour de France many years ago missed one of those surprise controls, anti-doping controls, and his excuse was that he was in vacation in Mexico. And during commentary of one of the Tour de France stages that season, a couple of weeks later, as we have Ashton and Hank going at it, he said, "Oh yes, Rasmussen, I met him near my house in northern Italy, and you know, the authorities asked him later after the stage, listening to the commentary, when was that?" He said, "You know, it was this date. This was the date." He said he was in Mexico, couldn't do the anti-doping control, and he was leading the Tour de France and was disqualified. I feel a bit like the same because I involuntarily exposed this mistake by these two drivers here. So, but I mean, justice is justice.
Yes. Ashton had to go mega defensive and then now lost the draft. And you were saying how Hank and Beard and Van Buell all need to stay behind as well if this is going to work. It hasn't worked
No.
because they haven't tried to stay behind. Stop fighting! Oh
Keep
dear.
fighting. Keep fighting.
Well, that's what Seb Hawkins is saying right now, I'm sure.
Let's check in on our contrarian of the day, Lewis Ward, who now, of course, his efforts are being overshadowed by this, you know, a possible penalty.
By the way, the other driver to get the penalty was Jeremy Hassels. Did you say it was Hassels?
It was number 45.
Yeah.
Let me check. Number 45,
It is
yes.
Hassel.
Oh, there's a car
Hopton
in the
and
wall.
Tusting. There you are. That's a Mark Webber incident from 09, I think. Here is Tusting. Needs to go spin that car around.
Okay.
Is there any cars nearby? No. He's all right.
See what
Was in
happened
18th place was Tusting, according to that number on the top right, or from his perspective, of course. There you go. Really, that really was a Mark Webber spin, wasn't it? And into the gravel, fortunately for him, did not get beached. Beards into the pits, and so to Ruben Van Buell. So this is the halfway mark. We don't usually see this amount of variance when it comes to the strategy. Usually, everyone's very dull, and they all pit on about the 38 to 40 minute mark. Now, the big thing is, where are they going to come out in relation to Lewis Ward? I've kept a little bit of an eye on Ward's lap times, and they've been underwhelming. They haven't really worked that well for him, kind of low 49s. The others have been lapping in the high 48s because they've been fighting less ever since Ward kind of got out of that pack. So I don't think this is going to work out particularly well for Ward, as Beard is on pit exit. Here he comes. A lot of overspeed, of course, for his rival, and Beard will just about stay ahead. So that is actually an overcut for Ashley Beard, and this undercut for Ward really does not seem to have
Ashton has a problem. And there's a big hit to the wall.
Oh, yep, into the wall. Second place in the championship. Was third place in this race. However, that steering looks straight. However, a lot of aero damage is going to happen.
That was a massive hit. Oh. New Tiger model, a lot of speed, plus anything that is not tarmac makes for a very bad combination on iRacing now.
He looks so comfortable as well, didn't he? Looks really quick, as though he just wasn't showing his absolute pace, being caught up in traffic. Does he come into the pit straight away to fix some damage? I guess there's really no point. The team are going to be able to do pretty much nothing to that car to make it any better. And here comes Van Opstal in the McLaren, the fastest car down the straight. The overspeed isn't that massive, so it's not too bad for Ashton. As he goes deep on the brakes, can he get stopped with ease? Well, this race has just got a whole lot more tricky for Ashton, and a day which looks like he was guaranteed to catch up in the championship. Looks as though it's going to be damage limitation, just trying to keep that gap as small as possible.
So we cut away from the pit cycle the pit stops earlier, but Sam was just catching that with the corner of his eye earlier. And Ruben Van Buell has had a 24.5 second stop, so he lost track position. Quite a bit.
Maybe just inexperience. The fact that he hasn't done too many of these rounds.
Yeah. Maybe he was super careful with the fuel. Meantime, at the top of the field, still it's his brother Stein Van Buell, who has lost 0.8 of a second in his last lap compared to Hawkins. As we have another fight here, it's Van Opstal and Ashton, of course, with Dries Mujdi following very, very closely. That McLaren, I've seen a McLaren paint used by a lot of several drivers. I've seen them now using the McLaren paint on the BMW GT, which left me a little bit baffled.
Oh, that's a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah, this is the only car on
Ooh.
iRacing where you can really have this livery work. As Mujdi easily goes past Van Opstal, who's holding on 5th in his class. Of course, Dries Mujdi is silver and trying to go back, but Louis Sank looking very, very good, whilst Kevin Bolland and Jay Mobden are neck and neck for the lead in bronze.
And to go defensive is Boland. He's got a new livery as well on that car. He was quite excited about that one. It does look very good, I must say. James Hobson, though, looks as though he might be a little bit faster. However, that Mercedes, he's not gaining anything at the moment. He looks as though he's got a lot of movement down the straight. It looks like the car's really bouncing about quite a bit. It's to the outside, but that's BMW. Not quite sure how it's so quick down the straights because Hobson's car looks pretty clean right now, but the Mercedes certainly the better through the corners. Gives his rival a bit of a shove. If anything, that does help the acceleration of Kevin just ahead. I doubt he's going to be a change of position at the next corner. This guy's currently ahead of all the drivers who have pitted, I believe. No, actually, they're kind of in amongst them. No, they are ahead. Apologies. Actually, Beard 3 seconds behind them, so that'll be an extra element to this battle. When he catches up, you can see him in the Year 1 Racing liveried car.
There you go with the pit stop recap, and as you can see, the majority of the field still hasn't made their way to pit road. Very quickly moving to Louis Sank, who I think made a small mistake coming out of Lesmo 2, nothing major as I was expecting. As Sebastian Hawkins, box, Sebastian. Why I didn't ever say this? This was like a slam dunk. Everyone in.
They're all pitting,
but not the leader. but not the leader. Who did this camera pack? Do we have like a
oh, get
camera?
off it!
Come on, like this camera is positioned on top of the Marshall box, so when a car leaves the pits, you basically go through the and see this one. You see these nice people and the very useless barrier, and this is a bit better.
Honestly, you need to go to the pit lane camera, all right? Or the pit lane 2. Okay, I didn't design these pit lane cameras.
No,
I'm not going to take responsibility for these. But take what you're given, honestly. I'd slave away at these camera packs.
I have to say that I use these cameras for my AI races. Like, look at this. This is the number 0 Marshall post. He shouldn't be doing cameras.
He's multi-talented, alright? He's got an apprenticeship.
But apart from that, I mean, I used your cameras for my AI races, and of course the broadcasting we do. Last night, the cameras for Circuit of the Americas we used, I got big props from the real-life Formula Americas commentator who was commentating with us, and I said, you know,
which track was this, sorry?
Circuit of the Americas.
Okay, yeah, they're all right. They're not great.
He said that he loved them, and I said, he said, you know, thanks Marco for the great cameras. I know the cameras were done by my colleague Sam.
Oh, good. Thanks.
They were great. They were great. Lots of great reviews. So everyone is in, and now the race leader is in with a comfortable 35 seconds lead as he enters pit road. Last, of course, pit stall, having been on pole position. And you can
By the way, Hawkins came out of the pits ahead of Beard.
Yes.
So, only just though. He did have a 4-second longer pit stop because didn't save as much fuel. Didn't really have a job for that entire time because he's been in second place the entire time. Will he be in second place much longer? How has this race come to actually be? It's been a remarkable change of events for him. He was being left. Oh!
You almost commentator cursed him.
And he has kept it in a straight line though. Van Buell comes out of the pits. Quick pit stop for Van Buell. 20 seconds. You can just about see him in the distance. They are 10 seconds behind. Wow, how about that? To the outside goes the Year 1 Racing driver. This move has been attempted on Hawkins by 2 other drivers. It never works though. He's an absolute brick wall. As Ashton really should be with those guys, I could be even ahead of those guys. Instead, he is well behind Ruben Van Buell, ahead of him in 7th place. Coming out of the pits is that John Barnes? No, it's not. It can't be John Barnes. That is a
PJ
Janowski?
coming out of the
Clayton's. Apologies.
Yeah, I think, and Barnes also. So we have 31 needs to give position back to the 250. Which should happen any moment now. Right, guys? I think it
The
happened,
250,
yes.
did you say?
Yes. Yes, and Slade and Murray.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, back to the race. And these guys here, I mean,
James Forsythe catching up to these guys. Could we have a double year one podium again? We saw it at Bathurst. I imagine we're probably seeing it at one other circuit as well. Also, Van Buell hasn't won a race this season, has he? I mean, I am going to check this. I don't believe he has. So it's looking very much on course for at the moment. Hawkins hasn't won a race either this season. Neither has Ward or Hank, of course. Only Beard, the sole race winner out of this top 5. Going for the dummy. Track's not wide enough, though. You can't lose a load of tarmac. To the outside he goes. Now he has got a bit more of his car alongside Hawkins. Was deeper on the brakes. However, he continues to get that better line for Curva Grande. And now, nearly getting alongside. Is getting alongside is Ward. Don't make contact, guys. That would be totally unnecessary. I think Ward can't really do anything from that position. Here comes Beard. Almost had to do a Vettel circa 2011. And here comes Ward round the outside, boxes his rival in. He does the old Hank move. And that was very nicely driven right there from Lewis Ward. And he's back up into the podium places.
oh yeah, great stuff there as we continue on this race. That was some. I mean, these guys here again, they are not doing themselves any favor, but they are doing us a big favor because this has been a brilliant fight.
I think, to be fair, they got nothing better to fight over than second place, to be honest. I think Van Buell has been and gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for them to get back to him. Or, I mean, unless he makes a mistake.
Just checking, Van Buell has got 2 second places. He's got 0 points, 33 points, 85 points, 0 points, and 85 points. It's not particularly consistent. But it looks like he might win a race this time. It would be the 6th different race winner in 7 races. We've seen a lot so far. Danny Crow's won race 1. Ashton race 2. Van Leesnord. Did Van Leesnord win race 3? Yeah, he did win race 3. Of course he did. At Sebring. Race 4 went to Beard at Watkins Glen. As Beard himself is going to try to go for the move. Ward deep on the brakes. Can Beard muscle his way around the outside? I think Ward's got to leave him space here, which is going to cost his line. And now Hawkins scampers away. And he laughs in 2nd place. And he pulls away now. 9/10 of a second. He's pretty much breaking that chart. Hank not really being able to do too much. Here comes Beard again. But he needs to start thinking, well, let's catch up once again to the driver ahead.
Yeah,
Hank's off. Has he hit the wall?
I think he did.
Yes, but it is tyres over there. Down to 10th. And lost the silver class lead as well. Juice Mushti is into the silver class lead now.
Let's see if he hit the barrier. He did, but you are right, not the biggest of hits, and of course tire wall is much more friendlier than... I'm still going crazy about that word you invented during the Spa race of the Endurance Series. Towards the end of the race, and I cannot find back on the stream. Sure, you don't know what I'm talking about, probably.
So what did you say?
You invented a word during the Spa broadcast of the Endurance
Oh
series.
yeah, I did, didn't I?
I've been meaning to find it back, but I can't, as here we go with Anke going past Van Opstal, so that car seems to be fine.
Oh, what was it? It was something Nuss.
Yes, yes, absolutely, yes. Oh, again, I mean, it looks like one of those IndyCar races that you do on the big ovals, like Pocono, for example, no? Where the straights are so long that you see people moving up and down, that the FIA stewards will have a field day with this. You know, but on iRacing, of course, and depending on the various series, I mean, I haven't seen anything egregious from these drivers. Like every move has been, you know, pretty much very safe. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the one move rule. But you know,
You don't like the one move rule?
No.
Okay.
I think he gives too big of an advantage to the driver behind.
I think as long as you don't move in the braking zone, you're all right. And even in these cars, to be fair, you probably could because ABS. I think in terms of the amount of moves you make, I mean, yeah, again, but probably don't mind too much.
Yeah, I think that I think that more should be made about drivers moving the braking zone in real life, but it is not considered as bad as you know, um changing your line multiple times. I mean, there should be a limit, in my opinion. You cannot change times 100 line 100 times, but you know.
Clayton's is up into 12th place. He's up 23 positions now. Bad news for him. 10 seconds. Oh, Clayton's off the circuit.
Clayton's
My
off.
goodness me. Well, sorry, PJ.
Oh, that car is...
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
I mean, the engine is in the back, but all that extra baggage room is not going to do him any bit of favor, as he is now being passed by... No, that's a lapped car. Let's see how this happened. Did it pull a Barbanera? Or no?
No.
Oh!
You can see all of his shopping now. Quite a lot of toilet paper in that car, if he's got any sense at all.
I was meant to send you a photograph earlier, I completely forgot.
Have you stolen all the toilet paper, Marco?
Toilet paper is okay, though the problem, you know, I wanted to poke a bit of fun at you because I have so many eggs.
Oh, no, wait, we've got enough eggs now. We've got chickens, mate. We've got ducks and chickens.
Okay.
We've got all the eggs we want.
Well, here very close to my house there is like a farmer, and every Friday I usually go there and pick up vegetables, and he has got the chicken, of course, as well. But now he's bringing it straight to us, leaves into the elevator, and I put the money in the elevator and send it down, and we had very, very fresh eggs.
Are these chicken eggs?
Yes, we mainly have chicken eggs in Italy.
That sounds good. That is a good resource.
My mom made cake today to celebrate it.
Well, of course, you got your birthday coming up, haven't you?
Yes.
Wait, is it your birthday? Yeah.
My birthday is on the 9th, and my brother's birthday is on the 5th. So it's going to be a long, long week of cakes.
And of course, they got Apex Racing TV anniversary. So that will be another cake. Oh, your mum's going to be busy at work, to say the least.
That's going to be on the 7th of April, of course.
Oh, bids off.
Dear.
And he spun it as well. Oh, Ashley. And he's lost out to his teammate. Now, where is Ashton? He's going to lose out to Ashton. And the championship lead, which looked like it was going to be extended.
Unbelievable.
And they both made big mistakes in today's races. And Ashley Beard drops down to 9th place. Where is Sherman's? Well, Sherman's 3rd place in the championship as well. He's got past now. Louis Hank as well. So many mistakes from these drivers have gradually been whittled down from that big pack of about 6 cars earlier on. That's plenty of mistakes, and he just went in way too deep, did Beard. And that's a lot of championship points lost.
I mean, and it's incredible because you don't think about Monza as a track where individual mistakes can be punished. And I thought for a second he clipped the grass, but no, he just went straight and wanted to avoid contact, of course, with the Audi there. It's but we've seen many individual mistakes today, Sam. It's quite astonishing.
So then there were two, Hawkins v Ward. Forsyth might get involved as well. This race feels a little bit longer than the others because the pit stops came so early. So they've still got 12 more minutes to go. Usually gets to this point, and it's 5 minutes to go. But instead, with this extra long second stint, I've got a while to go. And you can see all the protagonists still there. You could even see right at the back, I think Ashley Beard, you could even see in his Year 1 racing car. And so they're all still pretty close. Only 15 seconds separates second place down to 11th place. And so if Hawkins continues to defend, we could see a battle form up once again. Really looking good now is Jack Ashton once again, because he's catching up to the drivers ahead, and Hawkins already going defensive. Here comes James Forsyth. That was past a back marker of Neil Cooper. He started on the back of the grid. Shame to see Cooper struggling a little bit. Of course, yeah, like I say, started on the back of the grid, but was so strong last season with Fury. They haven't quite been able to back that up this season.
Apologies for that. Switching from this battle, I thought that was for position. And
oh, too much curb. Sorry.
Hawkins and Ward now, basically, they are the two survivors. Forsyth can join them if they keep on fighting. Stijn van Buell has, well, to quote a NASCAR quote very famous, once Danica Patrick asked his spotter, where is Martin Truex Jr.? In a race he was leading by like 15 seconds at one point on an oval, and the spotter said, he's on a different zip code. And, you know, Van Buell, 15 seconds ahead almost at Monza. Absolutely fantastic.
We see some big race victory margins this season, haven't we? For a season where we've had 6 different winners in 7 races, the dominance of some of those race victories has been remarkable. We have seen some close ones as well. Daytona came down to the run to the line. Sebring was very close as well. But Watkins Glen was dominant. Zolder should have been. I mean, that was 10 seconds lead at one point. That's that the leading driver had. That was Jack Ashton who won that one. And today it looks like it's going to be 14, potentially even 15 seconds by the end of the race. Especially if Hawkins continues to defend like this. Their pace isn't that bad though. 49.6 that last time round. They actually pulled away from James Forsyth. So they're doing enough, but I know they should really be communicating with one another somehow. I don't know, Morse code with the flashing of the lights, and be saying to one another, "All right, we'll stay with one another for 5 minutes, and then we'll battle for the last 5 minutes. Yeah, we'll pull away now and battle for the last bit, because if they continue battling for the next 9 and a bit minutes, they're going to be caught by a few other drivers."
Yes, absolutely agree with you. Let's check in on Louis Sank. Was a mistake very recently for him. Oh, what happened here? I saw something flash on my screen.
Yeah, that was strange. That was Hank.
I saw Hank and Ashley Beard with a warning message.
By the way, of course, drive the penalty at 25 instants. I believe that will be dished out manually today because the session was set up. Also, no, it was set up, correct? Apologies to the stewards. I was doubting them for a second. That's not what the commentator of the season would do. All second, not second place, 4th place, 5th place. Ruben Van Buell trying to get back ahead of Jack Ashton. It looks as though that one has worked. In fact, he's defending from Jack Ashton. He hit the wall earlier on, could have easily been raced over, got away with very little damage, and he's coming back at the McLaren. Here he goes on his comeback, of course. Van Buell has to go to the outside. Will he stick round the outside? Is there going to be contact? Takes a lot of curb, and that's going to be the better line this time for Jack Ashton, who is back up into the top 5 places.
Can we say it? Hopefully we don't commentator curse him, but Ruben Van Buell has been absolutely fantastic today in his comeback race. hopefully he doesn't prove me wrong here by having an issue with Ashton, but no, I mean, he has been absolutely brilliant, and he coming back with a top 10, I mean, would be absolutely fantastic. Seems to have it in the bag with 7 minutes left, so let's go through the recap of the various classes. Leading the way, Stijn van Buel, of course, in the overall and in the gold class, in front of Sebastian Hawkins, Lewis Ward, James Forsdyke, there is, and Jack Ashton. In silver, it's Dries Mujdi leading the way. He is in front of Nick Schurmans in second. Third place for Louis Anke. As you can see, they are fighting each other very hard. Ollie Slade, excellent, in fourth. And David Fuller looking to bag a solid top 5. In bronze, Bolland leads, and in front of Obden, as you can see, they are pretty close with each other. And then Thijs Berg is in third, and everyone else is out.
Berg is 14 laps down himself. I'm not sure what the criteria for scoring points is. But considering that he's only completed about half the laps, he may not score points there.
I think you have to finish 75%, or but maybe I mean, at this point, I barely remember my own name. You know, Sam. I've been covering so many series, of so many different formats, so many different disciplines. By the way, big thumbs up for the organizing of the NASCAR 300. That's a very very good event. Was it your idea?
I'll give Prince Kern actually the credit for that one. But I was certainly involved in producing it.
Well,
no.
if I don't have a broadcaster, expect to see my car in the field.
Nice one. Okay. Looking forward to that one.
Remember,
hopefully you will not have the SDK gaming app live on your screen this time.
I mean, remember that I am Le Champion of the Daytona Duels in the Major Series for 2020.
Of course, yeah. Louis Hank. Oh no, Hank and Sherman's.
Now they keep going wide in that corner. That's why now I notice why they're every lap. See, also Slade and Boland have followed suit.
So Ward has dropped off a little bit now, and it's given Hawkins a slight respite. And oh, that's a lot of lifting and coasting. Remember, Ward came in mega early, lap 12. That's 7 laps earlier than everyone else. And everyone else barely got to the 40-minute mark. I'm just wondering, is Ward going to be struggling on fuel? We've got 4.5 minutes to go. And our lap round here is nearly 2 minutes. So we've got 3 to go, I believe. So that's not that close to the threshold then. It's not there's going to be like a close third lap. In fact, we're going to be quite close to a fourth, but not going to quite make the fourth. So he should be all right with you. I don't know how you'd get particularly confused, but that was certainly lifting and coasting. I wonder if we could ride on board with him a little bit more, Marco, down into this next chicane and see what he does.
As per usual, you ask, and I obey.
A little bit of coasting, but not a lot. I'm getting flashbacks to myself in the Porsche Cup Series yesterday. Oh, by the way, in that Porsche Cup Series, I beat Lewis Ward. I don't think I mentioned that so far today.
No. I think you mentioned it before we went live, so I will give you that.
Oh, okay. It's only twice then since we have gone live. But yeah, I beat him. Anyway, completely unrelated. I ran out of fuel. I was going to run out of fuel yesterday in the Tsukuba. Now the Porsche Cup Series is at. So I had to save a lot of fuel, and it did cause some chaos when I was battling with someone else. But it was all alright in the end. Well, actually, I say it was all alright. I got a penalty for too many incidents and lost a lot of iRacing. So it was the opposite of all right. It was an absolutely awful result. I got hit off by that bloke twice. But it was an alright battle in the end. It was alright. Well, down to the treacherous zone of 3.6k now. Very disappointing.
I got wrecked in the pace lap. Oh dear.
Oh no. Oh well. There you go. That's commentated the season material. Yeah, I don't think he was saving fuel, and
Look,
it wasn't
he's
enough.
Having to weave, I think, to get. I think he's almost out of it.
This is a Dries Mujdi, who famously had to
He's
pit
not
right
the
at
only
the end.
one.
Oh no! Championship leader Ashley Beard is into the pits. Now, there aren't many drivers behind these guys. The furthest they'll drop down to is 17th, and they might not even fall that far down. As, there was new tyres as well on Ward's car. I think he got up on the jacks, which was a waste of time. He certainly did, because he's much closer to Beard than he was before. It was a 12.03 second pit stop.
Yeah.
There you go. That was on the jacks. So they have dropped down to Beard has only lost 4 places, I think, in that 5 places, because he would have been ahead of Ward. Yeah, what a mistake! What a mistake from those two. Slade up into the top 10 now. If you can keep Boland behind him, which you can.
I mean, how many things have happened in this race, Sam? Absolutely fantastic. Surprises left and right. So now the revised top 5 is Stijn van Buulen first, Sebastian Hawkins then, James Forsdyke. I mean, the
Oh,
unsung
wow.
hero of this race. Consistency. He has been in the shadows. In the shadows not because he performed badly, because he was so quiet. He kept on going, stayed out of trouble, and he will bring home a podium if he can, as the
Third
white
podium
flag.
of the season.
Yeah. Oh, we have a crash for Van Opstal. Oh, disaster for him.
Now, can he... Well, how many places is he going to lose? He was up in 8th. Oh, no, he's towed back to the pits. Oh, well, there you go. He's got a lot of his car missing, hasn't he? So that's going to promote everyone else behind him up a position. That's what happened to James Hobden. Is this for the lead of the bronze category? Oh, he went too deep. Oh, he still made the corner, to be fair. Didn't do a Leclerc. Meanwhile, Alton leads.
Tell me, all on his
Absolutely
own. This will be painful with 2 laps to go. Oh, dear me.
Oh.
So this is the
Slade
white
still
flag,
having to defend.
I think, Sam.
Yep, final lap. And Stijn van Buulen, he's, well, of course, he narrowly missed out at Daytona. And then he narrowly missed out at Sebring as well, of course. And I think he isn't too far off winning at Zolder as well. I think he's got 3 second places so far this season. However, he got pole position right at the start of today's round. And this is going to drag him back, perhaps, into championship contention. He's absolutely dominated. On pole by 0.6 of a second. And he has not looked back since. One of the easiest race wins you'll see in the DynamiXX GT Championship. And at round 7, we're going to have a 6th different winner of the season. It is Stijn van Buulen who wins at Monza. Seb Hawkins, all that defense, looks like it's going to yield his best result ever in the series. He finishes in 2nd place. And Mr. Reliable, James Forsdyke, is going to get his third position of the season. And Jack Ashton may take the lead of the title. That's not confirmed. However, it could have been better for Ashton. Maybe even have the pace to fight for the win. But it is still a good damage recovery in 4th. Ruben van Buulen on his comeback finishes in 5th place. And top of the silver drives is going to be Dries Mujdi. After the complications of the fuel last season at this circuit, he has made no mistake this time and finishes in 6th place ahead of Louis Hank by just over a second in the end. Certainly going to help Mujdi in the championship there. Nick Sherman's 3rd place in the championship finishes 8th overall. In the bronze category, you're waiting for this man, Kevin Boland. That livery clearly gaining him a few tenths of a second because he has pulled away from James Hobden. Kevin Boland rounds the parabolica, approaches the line, and he wins the bronze category at Monza. Round 7 is all his.
Sam,
And there is the race winner.
If we read the chat, but I just noticed that the kind stewards told us that it's 60% to get scored at the end of the race. 60% of the distance. So thank you to the stewards. We were wondering, about some cars, for
It was
example,
Berg, wasn't
Berg,
it,
yeah.
who will not score points then.
So we have these beautiful shots of this most deserved race victory from Mr. Stein Van Puel, number 47, brings home the race victory, and now we get the race results for this Monza event. I promise you they are coming in just a second.
So there is that Senna tribute livery, looking as glorious as ever. And finally, it has taken him to the top step of the podium in this round 7 of the championship. And here are the results then. Stein Van Buel wins out 11.5 seconds clear of Seb Hawkins, but to be fair to Van Buel, he was cruising in the second half of that race. Great defense in the end from Hawkins. We were criticizing him throughout for defending too much, and maybe if he wasn't defending, maybe he would have won the race. However, if he didn't defend, maybe he would have fallen further down the order. So who knows? I think still second place for Hawkins. He will be delighted with for Britzy Esports. James Forsyke, third place. Great drive, really great drive. Jack Ashton features in fourth, closes the gap in the championship. Going to be ever so close now for the championship lead. Ruben Van Buel in fifth place, remarkable comeback for him, only 20 seconds off the lead. Dries Mushti, top of the silver drivers in sixth. He really just came on stronger and stronger towards the end of that event. Louis Hank will be frustrated. Podium was certainly there for him. However, still some decent points in seventh. Nick Sherman's in eighth. There's Ollie Slay, great result for him. Possibly his best ever result in this series in ninth. Then Bod Boland rounding at the top 10. And that was David Fuller, who started in 32nd place, I believe, did Fuller. But kept it on the circuit. Great drive into 11th. Then it was Adam Murray. Lewis Ward with that late pit stop. Perhaps a podium could have been his if it weren't for that. Ashley Beard, a couple of big mistakes from him. And again, another driver who could have finished on the podium. There were so many who could. Joseph Janowski did finish behind him in 15th place. Then it was John Barnes, Kevin Boland, top of the bronze drivers, and Paul Gosling in 18th place. Then it was John Tusting, James Hobden, Sam Bentham, Kim Byheit, Stephen De Wolf, Hendrik De Grave, Stephen Van Opstal, Neil Cooper, PJ Claysons. He'll be the last driver to score points. Thijs Vandenberg, despite finishing, was too many laps down to score points. And then the other retirees were Justin Nair, Jeremy Hessels, Ryan Walker, Matthias Tem, Tom Metherell, Craig Jones, Simon Van Dyke, Kevin De Winter, Steve Clays, and Stuart Musselwhite. 38 drivers. So we saw a few of those drivers. I think those are bottom 6 all getting involved in that start line crash on lap 2 of the race. After that, it was a much better driving though from the competitors. And it looks like we're going to get some interviews. So first up, I think we're going to have a chat with James Forsyke because he's done it again. He's got another podium. Congratulations, James. It didn't look like you were necessarily the fastest out there. Certainly in qualifying, you dropped a little bit of time at the start of the race as well. But you were just so solid, so consistent. You get yourself another third place.
Yeah, I'm still making a bit of a habit of that, aren't I?
Yeah.
So, I think it's my third place now. So I can't seem to do any better. But yeah, it was a good race. Like you said, qualifying wasn't fantastic, but just kept it going solid throughout the whole race, and unfortunately took advantage of a few mistakes from other drivers. So can't complain.
Absolutely. When we saw that big pack of cars in front of you about 10 minutes into the race, what was kind of going through your mind when you were kind of catching up to those drivers?
If I'm honest, I was just quite happy being behind them. I was not. Well, I knew pretty much everyone in front of me at that point was faster than I was, so I was more than happy to just sit in the draft of them. I know at one point they did get quite close to me, but I think a lot of them decided to pit early, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving going on, I think. But luckily, it didn't bother me too badly, and I think I made the most of it.
And when we got to the pit stops, we saw issues for your teammate Ashley Beard underfueling the car. Was that an issue for you? Did you put in the perfect amount of fuel in the end, or were you a little bit light, or did you have a little bit spare over?
I had a little bit spare over. I say Ash he's had I think he had an issue this week with his fueling calculator. So I don't think it was necessarily on him. It was the calculator he was using. Yeah, it was unfortunate because he was by a long way faster than I was. If that hadn't happened, he would have definitely been ahead of me, I think. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a little play around of it in the team later this week, and hopefully we can get that sorted, and hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Looking at the championship now, third place today. I think you're up into third position in the championship now, which is quite fitting considering that you've had 3 third places. And you're not that far off, Ashley. I mean, you are by like maybe 20, 30 points off Ashley. I mean, you're in this championship battle. Is that coming into your thinking at all? Is that going to affect your driving at all? Maybe playing the percentages a bit more?
Yes and no. Like I said, I know. I think it's Jack who's in first, isn't it?
Well, it'll be very close between Jack and
Yeah,
Ashley.
I know Jack and Ash are both faster drivers than I am. So if I do finish behind them, that's more than fine with me. I said this. I think what we're trying to do, especially for me, I want to try and get more points for the team. So I think year one's going for. We kind of want to smash the team standings if we can. And I know we're quite a way ahead at the minute, so the more we can put out there, the better. So that's my primary goal really at the moment.
Well, certainly you are succeeding in that one at the moment, James. Before you let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Ash and Mark Fletcher. I say we spent a lot of time before this race preparing setups because we knew that the Merc was definitely down on speed relative to the other cars, and they produced a setup that was genuinely amazing. Couldn't have asked for better. Obviously, I want to thank the team year one for providing the base for us to sort of do all this and start taking everything a bit more seriously than we were before. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, James, and congratulations once again on another podium.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So that was James Forsyth getting his third place of the season. Marco, I think we've got Kevin Boland ready for a chat.
We sure do. Hello, Kevin, and welcome to the booth.
Hi Marco. Hi Sam.
Congratulations on your bronze win. How tough it was out there.
It was really tough. I had James Hobden from about 3 or 4 laps before the pit stops, like right behind me, like applying the pressure. So it was just like a matter of keeping the tyres there and trying to get it to the end of the race and hopefully have the tyres at the end to attack him. But that plan went out the window. But we got there in the end. Like it was a great race between me and James for the bronze class. And then with the 2 silver drivers of Sam Bentham and Stephen DeWolf as well getting involved, it was quite intense of knowing where James was and knowing where the other 2 was as well.
It's been a race of attrition almost everywhere, but especially in your class because basically only you two got classified in the end. I think third place driver Theisberg did not complete 60% of the laps, and then we have several retirees. So it looks like it was very difficult to keep it on the track out there, and of course avoid the mess. And this is not a track where, I mean, yes, multi-car crashes can happen, but I've seen today a lot of single car incidents. So what was different? Maybe the new tire model was challenging on this track.
Yeah, so it's a lot about the new time model. A lot of people struggle with it, especially like before it gets up to temperature, and then some people can struggle once it's up to temp. It's all about just like trying to find your balance point of like a lot of people have changed cars as well from the new tire model. So some guys have gone from like the Merc to the Audi or the Audi to the Merc. Where I've stuck with the Z4 to try because I know like if I stick to one car and just learn that one car, I've not got to worry about everything else of like trying to learn a new car for the rest of the season. So like I said, a lot of the guys have changed, but most of the guys that finished today have all stayed in the same car, pretty much.
Well, it has been a very, very, very nice run. Now, Sam, of course, will tell me where the next race is, right, Sam?
I don't want to say where it is.
It's
It's
a
a night circuit, shall we
Oh, it's
say?
Motegi Night. Yes, yes. Okay, so not a very popular track, Kevin. What is your opinion?
Um, I've never really been a fan of Motegi, but my first ever GT3 race was around there in the Audi R8. So it's going to be a nice challenge to go back there. It's just a matter of learning the track, pulling a setup together for the before the race.
Well,
It's just
that's
unfortunately
yeah.
I don't have a lot of time because
Mhm.
I don't have the practice on the Monday. Because I do another race, but it's one of them of the 2 hours before the race I'm on, like just trying to find a setup that works and alter changes and stuff. But I was actually running a C-ring setup for this race, so happy with that, how it come out.
Awesome, Kevin. Well, congratulations on this class victory. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
The team, Juicy Jenny Racing, I'm now part of. Their sponsors, SimHub Racing Simulators. You guys for sitting here and commentating over it, so thank you for that to you too. And to my to my spotter that was talking into my ear that whole race, Paul Rogoli, he was mega for me.
Thanks, Kevin, and we'll catch you next week, hopefully.
Yep, hopefully I'll be back here next week. See you in a bit, guys.
That was Kevin Bolland, and we have one more interview left, and I think Sam is standing with Seb Hawkins.
Yes. Oh my god. I was thinking it was.
Unless it's Sebastian Eberer, but
I. Well, who is
Oh.
this? Is this Hawkins or Herbert?
I'm Hawkins.
Hawkins, nice one. I was
Oh.
thinking, sorry, we're so obsessed with Seb Herbia liking us so that we become commentators of the season. Completely forget there's other people with Seb H, of course.
well, I got
But
it right, so you got it wrong.
Yeah, good point. There you go. Anyway, congratulations, Seb. Second place, your best ever result in this series, I believe. Must be
Yes.
delighted.
Yeah. Not much more I can say, really, to be honest with you. Just a crazy experience, and I certainly shouldn't be in here speaking to you guys, put it that way. But I managed to fend people off quite well, and yeah, it all seemed to come together. In fairness, I was happy with anywhere within the top 5. Quali amazed me, and I knew it was tight. And to be honest with you, I kept saying to Hobden, sort of our second driver of the team, sort of, you know, this is the exact track where the whole teammate drafting type thing is going to take place. And it didn't seem to happen so much. And I was quite surprised when I seemed to put the car in a good position. Because usually I put in a time and go, yeah, I'm happy with that. And then everybody else puts their times in, and then I sort of spend half the qualifying pushing too hard trying to catch everybody up. But yeah, it all seemed to just work, and I'm not quite sure why or how, but I really enjoyed it, and it was great.
Now, we were quite critical of your driving in the starts of the race. We were
Yes.
thinking, well, he's got the pace to catch up to the race, and yet he's defending. In the end, it was probably the right thing to do because you got a second place. But
Yeah.
was that a quandary for you? Were you thinking, shall I defend and potentially lose time to the race leader? Or were you thinking, should I just give up track position and maybe lose less time? Were you thinking about that at all?
It was, yeah, I mean, a lot of things were going through my head. After calming down from quali, thinking I'm not quite sure how I've got to this point. Yeah, it sort of was a tricky one. Making it around the first corner, I guess, was the key thing. And I think throughout the whole race, it was about making sure everybody had enough space. And I was, you know, super conscious that I didn't collide with any of those guys, because those guys, given their dues week on week, are up there. And you know, I've been slowly pushing over the last few weeks, joining with the Simracersworld races, be it endurance or the sprint, and yeah, just finding a lot more pace, really enjoying it, really like the guys here, a lot of respect, a lot of good racecraft, and usually I'm sort of starting around 10th or whatever, and I feel like I give a lot of space. It happened at Zarda, a lot of space to people, flying through dive bombing on the cold tires and just trying to bide my time. And this one, I wanted to check out, but I knew it was going to be difficult because of the nature of the circuit anyway. But I wasn't too fussed with losing P1. I was just quite happy if I could bring it back in second. That was an achievement to me. Yeah, and so it was a case of defending, which I never like to do because I always feel like that guy who's not got enough pace. But in the end, it ended up sort of being that I was able to get out the corners quicker, but not quite enter the corner as fast. So I sort of had we're tossing and turning and what advantages we had. Lesmo 1 was definitely one corner, which for the life of me, it was trying to kill me every time. But again, it was just a case of trying to keep my head down, do my thing, do as best as I could do, and then see where the race went. If I'd have finished P6 and those guys had gone through, them rightfully so. It just so happened it all sort of panned out in the end.
Yeah, it was an absolutely superb result in the end. Next up, we head to Motegi.
Yes.
Now, do you believe, and I want you to answer this honestly, and I can assure you it won't change my opinion of you. Do you think Motegi is better at night or during the day?
I guess night always adds an element to driving that is completely different. I mean, if you're used to Motegi in the day, then night will throw you. Is it going to make much difference in the end? I'm not sure. I think it might catch people out occasionally because, the darkness in iRacing does start playing with people's minds and you miss things and you miss braking points a lot easier because you haven't got so much going past you that you can, you keep in the corner of your eye. But am I gonna be too fussed? I'm not entirely sure. Again, it's just another one of trying to do the prep now, and hopefully it pays off, and we can have another good result. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, certainly best of luck for that one. Before we let go, any shout outs you'd like to give anyone?
I guess to the whole of the Abruzzi team, and to Ben especially for bringing me on board, getting on board with Ben. I've never really had the chance to sort of thank Ben within this series for setting up Abruzzi, and then obviously I started taking over Abruzzi Esports and running the whole team. So we've got our endurance series, which we push a lot of drivers into, and the same with the sprint series in this. And yeah, I guess just thanks to the whole team for sticking by and being super supportive and making my life easier so that I've got time to practice as well. And yeah, I guess that's really it. And I guess thanks to you guys that hopefully touch wood, fingers crossed, I'll be back in and I might be able to say something else before the end of the season.
Awesome. Well, hope to see you back in the commentary booth, Sebastian. And yeah, thanks for having a chat with us.
No problem. Go steady, guys.
So that was Seb Hawkins, he had a brilliant result today, has an awful opinion on Motegi at night because it is much better during the day. Floodlights are awful, and you can't really see much. That is the host for our next round of the championship. I will be more positive. To be fair to Motegi, the middle part of the lap is bearable. So I'm sure it will be another great round of the championship, and it's one a little bit different, I'd say, Marco. I can't really think of any circuit which really is similar to it. It's got a lot of hairpins around that circuit. It's of course, Japanese tarmac, as we always talk about whenever we visit that country. And and of course, it is at night as well. So very open, impossible to call who's going to be on top come that round.
Totemo Muzukashi desu. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Sorry, it means it's going to be very hard.
Yes.
And then my Japanese stops there. But for all the things he just said, it's going to be a tough race for everyone. It's tough for us because at night iRacing it's a bit difficult, trickier to spot who's who, especially in a big pack, and a very, very not the most popular of racetracks. Let's put it this way. Tough place to pass as well. So, but very wide in some points. That final chicane is a bit tricky, and of course starting will be an issue, of course, because most cars will start at the chicane or before that. But yeah, night racing. Under a tunnel we go, under a bridge. I mean, what more do you want?
I do like the bridges personally. 2 bridges we go under. It is the same bridge, but at 2 different points. So it could be good. We will also got to do a camera pack for that place. Oh dear. Well, that'll be good fun. That'll be something to do over the next week. So hopefully you'll tune us back for that one. That'll be round 8 of the championship. That's going to be well and truly in the second half. That's going to be the last. It's not quite the last third, but we're like 60% through the championship now. We are motoring along, and what a championship here has been so far. 6 different race winners in 7 races after 3 seasons of absolute domination from 2 different drivers. It has been so much more open this season, and of course, finally, Stein Van Buell winning out today. On the iRacing Esports Network, we've got loads of more races coming up. One to watch out for, certainly the AOSC Super Series on Friday morning. That will be Friday evening, of course, for Australians. That'll be an endurance race from Barcelona, 650 kilometers. Can James Scott win yet another round to march on towards that title, which certainly does seem to be coming his way now. Also, next week on Monday on the Esports Network, it is the return of the World GT Championship after a week's break. We'll be back with that one. And of course, next Wednesday, we will be back with us for round 8 of the DynamiXX GT Championship. And also do check out Apex Racing TV as well, where all of those events are being broadcasted anyway, plus a load of others. Official series like the 3.5 Championship, and of course the Apex Racing League GT Championship as well, and loads of other events. And I mean loads of other events. With an influx of sim racing, we're broadcasting, particularly in America, pretty much every night, and on Europe, we're broadcasting every night anyway. So plenty to sink your teeth into if you are a sim racing fan. But for now, from me and from Marco, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.